One of the biggest issues everybody has is when the issues has to do with manipulation. Yes, once the issues have to do with manipulations from any level and any occurrence, it becomes a major problem. As the Oni has been touted to be under serious juju manipulations from all the wives who, at one point in time or the other, needs a pound of flesh from him, the Oni of Ife. Hello everyone, it's D and Z TV today right now, and I want to say a special welcome and thank you to all of you who have been watching our contents back to back. We're actually super excited that you're here, and we too we are also excited that we have up-to-date information of everything happening at the palace of the Oni of Ife. And the best we can always do is to see that we give you this information on time to inform, educate, and entertain you so that when you get this information, you will digest it and use it for your own good. So, right about now, let's get straight to the crux of the matter. The crux of the matter right now is the fact that it's been discovered that the Oni of Ife is under serious manipulations from all the wives. Yes, all the wives of the Oni of Ife, in one way or the other, have been constantly manipulating the Oni. That is why it's very, very difficult for you to hold down or pin down Oni to a particular conversation. That is because he has now become a moving corpse, so to speak, whereby he's now being manipulated. Ashley go call am, im go go. Tobi Phillips go call am, im go go. Ronke go call am, im go go. Mariam go call am, im go go. All of them have a way of controlling him in remote ways that he cannot actually have a say. This is very, very, very pathetic because before now, the Ooni's throne, the Ooni's seat is supposed to be the most revered in the whole of Yoruba kingdom. But in the absence of all of this right now, it has become very difficult for the Oni to sustain that his growth, to sustain that his strength, to sustain that his caliber. His caliber has actually made it a little bit difficult for him to remain relevant. So that is actually what has actually happened and has actually transpired. It has transpired and made the Oni to have a different kind of mindset, a different kind of perspective, a different kind of understanding, different kind of feeling. That kind of feeling that you constantly want something and somehow you cannot get it. This is something that the Oni himself has been battling for a very long time now. And nobody actually knows what can actually happen that can make the Oni to regain consciousness. Now, regaining consciousness now has to do with the ability to discern and to know at what point in time he needs to take some different kind of actions. These actions are difficult to come by because the more we try to hold these actions, the more difficult these actions get. And not minding the fact that the Oni is a royal priesthood, a peculiar person, it has also given him different ideas, different mindsets, different convictions of what exactly he needs and requires to do. So the truth and the fact remains that the Oni of Ife right now does not have any logical grounds not to fire all these women. If it was just him alone, he could have fired them a long time. But since he doesn't have the will, it now becomes quite difficult for him to do any of such things. A lot of people have been thinking that before now, he ought to have fired all the women, especially Miriam. Miriam, who has actually been the main cause of the problems in the palace. But firing Miriam is almost like causing his own death because Miriam is in control of almost virtually everything happening in the palace. So it is actually quite tricky. It's actually quite difficult. It's actually quite funny that no matter how hard the Oni himself tries to put things in control, somehow, the women will still have a way of scattering everything and they still have a way of making the Oni feel unconditional. They have a way of making him feel disillusional. And the only thing he can do to sustain himself, the only thing he can do to gain his confidence back is to see that he sends all of them out of the palace. But sending all of them out of the palace is actually not as easy as everybody is looking at it to be. It's quite a very difficult task. It is a difficult task because he doesn't really have the local standing to control them, to let them do the things they need to do. Rather, instead of them doing the things they need to do, they rather put fear on their bodies. They rather get getting very disillusional. They rather make him feel that of a truth he might not really be able to sustain the kind of momentum that he needs to sustain. These and more are some of the issues that the Oni has been battling with all this while. But all in all, it is very noticeable that Oni needs to serious deliverance needs to be conducted on him, because the transfer of spirits have really been much. You know, if you notice what happened in the Bible, it was the many women that King Solomon had that caused his problems. So the possibility of they only having issues with all these plenty women is evident in the fact that he would definitely and always try to pull through. But the more he tries to pull through, the more difficult he gets. And the more difficult he gets, the more these women will still be controlling him. The only thing that can solve this problem now is when there's serious cleansing is done, when some serious cleansing is being done by the senior citizens of the palace, senior citizens from the Ifa Council. That is the only way that this thing is going to work. But if this thing does not work the way it should work, then trust me, things will definitely not get the same again. And then right now, we are trying to actually wish that things get back to normalcy again. Things just get to normalcy because if you notice, the Oni is actually strong. The Oni is actually flamboyant. The Oni is actually everywhere as regards the palace. But the truth about the matter is that the women have constantly been fighting him to see that he does not fulfill purpose, he does not fulfill destiny, he does not fulfill and get the things he wishes to get. This and more are some of the issues that we need to fix. And we wish and pray and hope that God, in His infinite mercy and goodness, will take charge, will take control, so that at the end of the day, the Oni is going to have his way again, and everybody will be good to go as the palace will enjoy peace of mind again. Hi, people, this has been DRZ TV, and we are here with more updates and information on everything you need to grow and grow as a senior citizen. Thank you for listening, and we wish to see you some other time. If not subscribed to the channel, we urge you right now to click on subscription button, comment, like, and share this video. Thank you, and bye bye.